before we begin to go into the analysis part, I would like to explain the concept of elision. Elision is defined as the omission of one or more sound. This could be a vowel, consonant, or even a whole syllable, or even an entire syllable in a word or a phrase. This process occurs naturally in fluent and everyday speech. For example, take a look at example. Consider the word natural in careful speech. It is pronounced as natural. But in rapid, casual conversation, the word often becomes natural, with the schwa and r sound omitted. Natural become natural. Now let's take a look at another example with the word laboratory. The full, careful pronunciation is laboratory. Yet in everyday speech, it is often reduced to laboratory by dropping one of the vowels in the unstressed syllable. And finally, take the word family. Its standard pronunciation is family. However, many speakers naturally say it as family, dropping the E sound. In connected speech, omitting the vowel E in the middle. This example illustrates how elision streamlines speech, making it faster and more efficient, but also creating challenges for learners in terms of both listening and pronunciation. Thank you. Alright, now, so as you can know, we choose elision for our final project. So why we choose elision? Now let me explain why we choose to focus on elision for this experiment. First, elision is common in natural, fluent English speech. Native speakers often drop sounds in fast or casual conversation, and this happens in daily interaction without much awareness. Studying elision helps us better understand how spoken English really works beyond just what's written. Second, elision presents both listening and pronunciation challenges for ESL learners. When sounds are dropped, learners might not recognize familiar words or may struggle to produce them correctly. This can affect both comprehension and clarity in communication. And lastly, we choose elision because it also affects our own speaking and listening in academic and social setting. As ESL speakers ourselves, we've noticed that elision appears in our everyday speech, especially when speaking quickly or informally. As a matter of fact, elision might have occurred in my speech before this and I might not have realized it. So by studying it, we can become more aware of our own pronunciation patterns and also learn how to help others in similar learning contexts.
In this experiment, our goal was to explore the phonological process of elision in natural spoken English, specifically among Malaysian ESL learners. To do this, we carried out small-scale qualitative study using a structured interview session. Here are the steps we followed throughout the experiment. Our first step was to decide on the phonological process to investigate. After reviewing various options, we agreed on elision because it is commonly found in everyday speech, but it often goes unnoticed. It plays a significant role in how fluent and natural someone sounds when speaking English, especially when dealing with complex consonant clusters. Once we had chosen the phonological process, we began selecting the words and phrases we would use to observe elision in action. We focus on commonly used words that are known to contain consonant clusters where elision often occurs. Some of the words we include were chocolate, sandwich, and family. These words were chosen to help us see whether elision naturally occurred when the participants spoke at a normal, relaxed pace. In this experiment, after preparing our interview material, we move on to selecting participants. We specifically choose a Malaysian ESL speaker who represents a typical language user in our local context. We have a total of 3 participants. All of them are Malaysian and currently enrolled in the Kuliah of Information and Communication Technology (KICT) at the International Islamic University (IIUM). They are regular English users in academic and formal settings and learners of English as a second language, and they are not native speakers. We felt this profile would provide authentic insight into how Malaysian students naturally produce spoken English and whether elision is a part of their everyday speech patterns. After preparing our interview material, we move on to selecting participants. We specifically choose a Malaysian ESL speaker who represents a typical language user in our local context. We have a total of 3 participants. All of them are Malaysian and currently enrolled in the Kuliah of Information and Communication. With the participants confirmed and materials ready, we scheduled and conducted the interview session at a time convenient for us and the participants. During the sessions, the participant was asked to respond to several questions and prompts designed to naturally include our selected target words and phrases. Rather than asking them to read out the words directly, we used a conversational approach to encourage natural speech. This helped us avoid overly careful or artificial pronunciation, which would not reflect the way people typically speak in real-life settings. With the participants confirmed and materials ready, we scheduled and conducted the interview session at a time convenient for us and the participants. During the sessions, the participant was asked to respond to several questions and prompts designed to naturally include our selected target words and phrases. Rather than asking them to read out the words directly, we used a conversational approach to encourage natural speech. This helped us avoid overly careful or artificial pronunciation, which would not. We recorded the interview session, and after the interview, we reviewed the participants' response in detail. We listened to the audio multiple times to ensure accuracy, then transcribed the relevant sections phonetically, both using standard IPA and noting how the words were actually spoken. We compared the participants' pronunciations with the Oxford English Dictionary's IPA transcriptions for each word. This helped us determine whether any consonant sound had been elided. This observation confirmed that elision is indeed present in the spontaneous speech of Malaysian ESL learners. We recorded the interview session, and after the interview, we reviewed the participants' response in detail. We listened to the audio multiple times to ensure accuracy, then transcribed the relevant sections phonetically, both using standard IPA and noting how the words were actually spoken. We compared the participants' pronunciations with the Oxford English Dictionary's IPA transcriptions for each word. This helped us determine whether any consonant sound had been elided. This observation confirmed that elision is indeed present in the This is the list of words and phrases we used in our experiment.
Moving on to the analysis section, we will begin with participant 1, starting with task 1, which is word reading. In this task, the participant was asked to pronounce 5 individual words aloud. For each word, I will play the recording of how the participant pronounced it, followed by a brief explanation of the observed phonological process, specifically elision. Alright, the first word is comfortable. Now let's listen to how the participant pronounced it.
Comfortable. Comfortable.
In the standard pronunciation, comfortable is pronounced as comfortable. However, the participant pronounced it as comfortable, omitting the schwa sound in the word. The f, comfortable, become comfortable. This is a clear example of elision use where unstressed syllables or consonants are dropped to ease the pronunciation, making it smoother and faster. Alright, the second word is family. Let's listen to the recording.
Family. Family.
The standard pronunciation is family, and the participant also pronounced it as family without any elision. No sounds were omitted. The speakers maintained all 3 syllables. The schwa sound in the second syllables was clearly articulated, which shows careful and clear pronunciation. This indicates that the participant may be more aware or cautious during word reading tasks, which often influence articulation accuracy. That's why the participant pronounced the word as family with no elision observed instead of family, without omitting the schwa in the second syllables of the word family. Alright, the third word is sandwich. Let's hear the participant.
Sandwich. Sandwich.
Alright, the expected pronunciation is sandwich, and the participant said sandwich. So the analysis of this pronunciation are the d in the consonant clusters, d, a w sound, the middle consonant cluster was omitted. This is a common elision in this word, simplifying the clusters and making the articulation easier and smoother. Instead of sandwich, it becomes sandwich. This simplification aligns with the real word usage in both native and ESL speakers. Alright, the fourth word is Christmas. Let's listen to the recording again.
Christmas. Christmas.
The standard form of pronunciation for this word is Christmas, but the participant pronounced it as Christmas. The t sound between the s and m sound was omitted, which is a typical elision in this word. This sound is often dropped due to the difficulty of transitioning from s to m sound quickly. Again, this shows natural speech pattern emerging even in ESL speakers. So, if the participant pronounce it without the elision, it will become Christmas, making it a bit hard to pronounce it. But if elision occurred, the t sound was omitted, it will become Christmas. It is even smoother and faster. Alright, the last word for task 1 for participant 1 is chocolate. Let's hear the participant.
Chocolate. Chocolate.
The standard pronunciation is chocolate. The participant pronounced it as chocolate. The middle schwa sound was omitted in the word chocolate. Chocolate become chocolate. This reduction condenses the word to 2 syllables instead of 3, making it even smoother and faster to say. This is a typical case of vowel elision in unstressed syllables and reflects how English naturally simplifies words forms in casual context. Next, moving on to the task 2, which is sentence reading. In this task, the participant was asked to read loud full sentences that contain words or cluster where elision is likely to occur in natural speech. As before, I will play the participant pronunciation first, then I will give a breakdown and analysis of the pronunciation. So the first sentence is, I asked her to help me with my homework. Now let's listen to the recording.
I asked her to help me with my homework. I asked her to help me with my homework.
The standard form pronunciation of this sentence is I asked her to help me with my homework, and the participant pronounce it as I asked her to help me with my homework. The k sound in the word asked was omitted, whereby it became us instead of asked. The k sound was omitted, so it will become us. This is a typical case of elision where a consonant in a complex cluster is dropped for ease of pronunciation. The omission of k simplifies the consonant cluster s, k, t to just s. Asked become us. Next, the second sentence is he acts in a lot of dramas. Now let's hear the participle.
He acts in a lot of dramas. He acts in a lot of dramas.
So the standard form of the pronunciation for this sentence is he acts in a lot of dramas, and the participle pronounce it as he acts in a lot of dramas. So the elision occurred in the word acts, where the t sound was dropped, whereby it changes from acts to acts. Can you hear it? Acts, acts, acts. Dropping the t sound simplifies articulation between the k and s sound, which can be hard to pronounce together. This is common in fast or casual speech. The third sentence is he must be really tired today. Now let's hear to how the participants say this.
He must be really tired today.
The standard form of the pronunciation for this sentence is he must be really tired today, and the participle pronounced it as he must be really tired today. The t sound in must was dropped, where it changed from must to must. The t sound was omitted. This is a case of final consonant elision before another consonant, which is in this case the b sound in the word be. He must be instead of he must be. So this kind of simplification supports a smoother flow in fluent speech. The fourth sentence, I've already told him everything. Now let's hear how the participant pronounced this one.
I've already told him everything. I've already told him everything.
Alright, the standard pronunciation for this sentence is I've already told him everything, and the participle pronounced it as I've already told him everything, where no elision occurred. In fast native-like speech, the phrase told him is often reduced to told him, dropping the h sound in the word him. Told him, told him. However, in this case, the participant clearly pronounced the h sound in the word him, whereby it becomes him. Maintaining careful speech likely due to the controlled nature of the task, or the participant may not have yet been exposed to how the native speakers or fluent ESL speakers pronounce it, told him. Okay, lastly, for the task 2 for participant 1, the sentence is he is a fast talker when he is nervous. Let's listen to this one.
He is a fast talker when he's nervous. He is a fast talker when he's nervous.
Standard form of pronunciation for this sentence is he is a fast talker when he is nervous. The participant pronounced it as he is a fast talker when he's nervous. So the elision occurred in the word fast, where the t sound was omitted, whereby it changes from fast to fast. Fast to fast. This happens commonly before another consonant. So in this case, the t in talker to reduce articulatory effort. This pronunciation reflects a more fluent, connected style of speech. So for task 2, out of 5 sentences, 4 show in at least one word. 4 show elision in at least one word. The most common patterns observed, including dropping the t and k in consonant clusters, as well as dropping sounds before another consonants. The sentence "I've already told them everything" did not show elision, possibly because the speaker was focusing on clarity during reading. So that's the end of the task 2 for participant 1. We will now proceed with the last task, spontaneous speech. Now I'll be presenting the task 3, which focuses on spontaneous speech. Unlike task 1 and task 2, this task asks the participant to speak naturally in response to casual everyday question. There were no given words or sentence to read, which allowed us to observe how elision occurs in unrehearsed fluent speech. The goal was to find out if elision appears more frequently when the speaker is relaxed or less conscious of their pronunciation. As we predicted, several forms of elision were observed. I will now go through each response in detail. Alright, for the first question, describe your daily routine. So the first participant response is,
My daily routine starts with waking up and take a shower, and then get ready to go to class. And all I do for weekday is attending my class until 9.
all I do for weekday is attending my class until 9. So the elision observed in the response is the word "and" appears multiple times, and in each cases the "d" sound is omitted. And if you listen closely to the response, you can hear when the participant said "wake up and take a shower" is pronounced as and take a shower. The "d" sound is omitted. Same goes to shower and then get ready, and then get ready. The "d" sound in the word "and" was omitted. And all I do for weekday, and all I do for weekday, and all I do for weekday. Same goes to the first two. The "d" sound is omitted. This is a clear example of consonant elision, specifically the "d" sound. The final "d" sound in the word "and" is commonly dropped in natural speech, especially when it comes between two vowel sounds or between a nasal "n" sound and a vowel. This elision not only increases fluency but also reflects a typical pattern in connected speech. It shows the speaker is prioritizing rhythm and ease over full articulation, which is common even in native speaker speech. Alright, for question 2, talk about a memorable weekend you had. So the participant response was,
I went to Pasasoni to hang out with my friends. We ate at a very pretty restaurant and talked.
So the elision observed in this response is first in the word "when", the "t" sound was dropped. So it was pronounced as "when" instead of "went". Second, in the word "restaurant", the schwa in the middle syllable was omitted. It became "restaurant" instead of "restaurant". Finally, in the phrase "and talk", the word "and" again showed elision, becoming "and talk" instead of "and talk". So this example includes both consonant and vowel elision. The "t" in "when" word is often dropped before another word that begins with a consonant or in fast speech. In the word "restaurant", the omission of the schwa simplifies the word from 3 syllables into 2, which is a natural reduction that reflects speech pattern. This omission of "the" in the word "and" once again confirms that function words are the most likely to undergo elision. Alright, for the third question, how do you usually prepare for exam? The participant response was, alright,
How I prepare for my final is I would go to my friend's room and study together. That is how I study. I cannot study alone.
observe in this response are in the sentence for my was pronounced as for my instead of for my. The participant dropped the r sound in the word for. Second, in the sentence, and study become and study instead of and study. The participant dropped the d sound, omit the d sound in the word and. Same as the previous response. And lastly, in the word together, the final r sound was not produced clearly and strongly. So it become together instead of together. So this shows a combination of r elision and d sound elision, which typically occurs in British English or non-rhotic accent. The drop the in the word and align with the earlier patterns, while the r in together and for is omitted due to its position before a vowel or at the. And the fourth question, describe your favorite food and how it is prepared. The participant response was,
My favorite food is white rice with sardine, and it's very easy to make.
So the elision observed in this response are the th sound in the word with was simplified or reduced to we, a very common adaptation by Malaysian speakers. In the word and it, the word the sound in the word and was elided, become and it instead of and it. So the simplification of with may result from language one influence, as the voiceless dental fricative th is not native to Malay phonology, and many speakers substitute or drop it. The elision of the sound in the word in a sentence and it reinforce that function words are frequently reduced, especially when they appear between two vowels. So together, these changes reveal the participants' natural tendency to prioritize fluency over articulation in spontaneous speech. And lastly, for the last question for this task, tell me about your favorite animal. The participants' response was,
My favorite animal is cat, but I do not have a pet.
So the elision observed in this response are, first, in the sentence but I, the t in the word but was dropped, so it sounded like but I instead of but I. And then in the sentence not have, the t sound in the word not may have been elided, making it no have instead of not have. So the elision of t sound between but and I is common because the t comes between two vowels. Similarly, in not have, the t is surrounded by consonant and gets dropped to reduce effort during speech. Both examples show how elision helps maintain rhythm and reduce pauses. Again, a feature of fluent speech in natural setting. So
Now, let's take a look at the second participant transcription result. For task 1, word reading, the first word would be comfortable. Now, let's hear the recording.
Comfortable.
According to Oxford Dictionary, the official transcription is comfortable. This reflects the reduced form that is typically used in natural speech. In this form, certain syllables are compressed or weakened to make the word easier to pronounce. When spoken by our participant, the word was pronounced as comfortable. Here, the participant added the extra schwa sound between the t and b sounds, resulting in 4 syllables instead of the 3 in the reduced Oxford form. This version is common among second language speakers or when the speaker wants to pronounce the word more clearly. So, did elision occur? The answer is no. In this case, no sound was omitted. This means there was no elision observed in the participants' pronunciations of the word comfortable. Now, let's take a look at the second word, which is family. Let's hear the recording.
Family.
According to Oxford Dictionary, the official transcription is family. This is the typical reduced form used in fluent British English. In this pronunciation, the middle schwa sound is dropped, resulting in two-syllable word, family. But when spoken by our participant, the word was pronounced as family. Here, the participants retain the schwa sound between m and l sounds, producing a three-syllable version of family, which is family. Now, you might wonder, does this count as elision? The answer is no. In fact, it is the opposite. Elision refers to the dilatation of a sound, usually to make a speech faster or more natural. However, in this case, the participant actually added a syllable compared to the reduced form. The third word is sandwich. Now, let's hear the recording.
Sandwich.
The official transcription is sandwich. In this standard form, the word includes the consonant d between the n and w sounds, making it sandwich. This is considered the citation form used in careful or dictionary-style pronunciation. When the participant pronounced the word, it was heard as sandwich. In this version, the d sound is missing. This means the participant said sandwich rather than sandwich. This is a clear case of elision where the consonant d is omitted in casual or rapid speech. This kind of elision is actually very common in native or non-native British English, especially when certain consonant clusters like n, d, and w are simplified for ease articulation. The fourth word we analyze is Christmas. Now let's hear the recording.
Christmas.
According to Oxford Dictionary, the official IPA transcription is Christmas. Interestingly, although the spelling of the word contains the alphabet T, the official IPA transcription does not include a T sound. This reflects the standard pronunciation used in British English where the T is typically elided or left out in normal speech. When spoken by our participant, the word was also pronounced as Christmas, which matches the Oxford IPA exactly. But it is important to point out that this is already a case of elision. In the full unelided form, the word would be pronounced as Christmas. Here, the T is clearly articulated between the S and M sounds. This version might be used in very careful or exaggerated speech, such as formal readings or singing. However, in everyday British pronunciation, the T is elided, meaning it is dropped. This makes the pronunciation smoother and more fluent, especially in rapid or connected speech. The last word we analyze is chocolate. Now let's hear the recording.
Chocolate.
According to Oxford Dictionary, the official IPA transcription is chocolate. In this pronunciation, the word is already reduced from its full form. Although it is spelled with 3 syllables, called lit, the standard pronunciation drops the middle vowel sound, the schwa, resulting in just two-syllable word, which is chocolate. When spoken by our participant, the word was pronounced as chocolate, which matched the Oxford transcription exactly. This means the participant used the reduced form that already involves elision of the schwa sound. If we were to pronounce the word without elision in its full citation form, it would be chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. This longer form retains the schwa and possibly a final vowel depending on accent or careful speech. However, such pronunciation is rare in everyday conversation, especially in British English. Moving on, let's analyze second participant sentence reading. The first sentence is, I asked her to help me with my homework. This is how the participants read the sentence.
I asked her to help me with my homework.
In this sentence, elision happens in the word ask. The standard pronunciation is asked, but the speaker said it as asked. The speaker dropped the k sound in the pronunciation. This is a classic case of consonant cluster reduction, where the s, k, and t sound is simplified by leaving out the k to make it easier to pronounce. Moving on to the next sentence, which is, he acts in a lot of dramas. Now, let's hear how the participant read this sentence.
He acts in a lot of dramas.
In this sentence, the elision occurs in the word acts. The correct pronunciation is acts, but the speaker said it as acts, leaving out the t sound. This is another example of cluster reductions. The k, t, and s sound is tricky to say quickly, so the t sound gets dropped in natural speech, which make acts become acts. The third sentence is, he must be really tired today. Now, let's hear how the participants read this sentence.
He must be really tired today.
In this sentence, the elision happens in the word must. It is supposed to be must, but the speaker said it as must, omitting the t sound. This happens because must, the word must, is followed by the word be, which starts with another consonant. So to keep the sentence smooth, the t sound is elided, which become must be. He must be, not he must be. The fourth sentence we analyze is, I've already told him everything. Now let's hear how the participants read this sentence.
I've already told him everything.
In this sentence, elision occurs in the word told. Instead of saying told, the speaker pronounces it as told, leaving out the d sound. This kind of elision is common when a word ending in a consonant like d is followed by another word starting with a consonant like him. To make the speech more natural, the last consonant of the word is elided, like I told him everything. The final sentence that we analyze in the second task is, he is a fast talker when he's nervous. So now let's hear how the participants read the sentence.
He is a fast talker when he's nervous.
In this sentence, elision happened in the word fast. The expected pronunciation is fast with a t sound in the end, but the speaker said it as fast, dropping the final t sound. This often happens when the one word ends in t and is followed by another consonant sound, like the t in talker. And again, it is to make the speech sound more natural. So now I'll walk you through the result of the third task of the second participant. In this task, we ask open-ended questions to observe how elision appears naturally during unscripted speech. Let's get started. The first questions we ask is describe your daily routine, and this is how the participants answer the questions.
Usually during the weekday, I will wake up around 8 because I have class at 10. Then I'll get ready, put on my skincare, shower, and then I'll go to class. And I'll eat for my lunch. And during the night before I go to sleep, I'll do my study. And that's how basically my day.
There are a few elision observed in the participants' answer. The first one is in the word during. During. The participants pronounce the word as during instead of during. The glide of y sound was dropped. So it is considered as elision. And the next elision observed is in the word would. Would become would because the final D was elided because the next word starts with a consonant word. So it become would wake instead of would wake. And then the last elision observed is in the word and. The d sound in the word and is elided to make the speech sounds more natural. Now, the second questions that we ask the participants is talk about a memorable weekend you had. This is how the participant answer the questions.
I remember when I just finished a lot of my exams that day, and then the weekends I went to my high school friends. We went to karaoke and we watched movies, and we go to eating our comfort food together.
In the participants' answer, there are a few elision identified. The first one is in the word just. The participant pronounced the word as just with the final T dropped. And then the next elision identified is in the word finished. Finished was pronounced without the T at the end, and it is pronounced as finish instead of finished. And again, and become and, losing the D. All of these elisions are classic examples of consonant cluster simplification and function word reduction, which is a very normal case in fluent and informal speech. For the third task, we asked the participant how they usually prepare for exams. So this is how the participant answered the questions.
For mathematics subjects kind of thing, I usually go for group study session, and about facts, I usually stay alone in the library.
Now, let's take a closer look at the elision process that occur during this spontaneous speech. The word usually is typically pronounced as usually, which contains 4 syllables. However, in the spoken response, it was produced as usually, a simplified 2-syllable version. This reduction is a common type of elision where the medial syllable are omitted to allow faster, more fluent speech. This is an example of vowel elision, often seen in high-frequency adverbs like usually, actually, and probably. Again, in this response, the participant drop the "d" sound in the word "and", making it sound like "and" without the "d" sound. Although the word subject was pronounced clearly, it's worth noting that the "t" at the end of subject is sometimes dropped in fast speech. For the fourth questions, the participant was asked to describe their favorite food and how it is prepared. This is how the participant respond to the questions.
My favorite food would be the Japanese udon ramen, but I think it's kind of hard to make, so I'll just go for bullet ramen, which is the instant ramen. So you just only need to boil it and put on the sauce, and it's up.
There are few elisions observed in the participants' response. The first one is in the word kind of. Kind of. The original phrase kind of contains the consonant cluster n, d, followed by the preposition of. In natural rapid speech, both the d and v sounds were omitted, resulting in kinda. This is a clear case of consonant cluster reduction, which make articulation faster and easier. Just like in the previous task, "and" was reduced from the full "and" to a schwa-based form "and". This reflects the speaker's natural use of unstressed function words, a consistent elision pattern in casual communication. In the last spontaneous speech task, the participants was asked whether they had a pet and what animal they liked. The answer was,
I don't have one, but I would love to have a hamster as my pet.
Though brief, this sentence provides two clear examples of elision, showing how even simple utterance contain patterns of reduced speech in casual spoken English. The first elision observed is in the word don't. Don't. The "t" sound at the end of the word don't was elided. This is a common reduction in informal rapid speech, especially when the next word begins with a consonant. In this case, have. Don't have. Not don't have. In casual speech, it becomes don't have. The second elision was observed in the word hamster. The word hamster ended with "t", omitting the final "r" sound. This omission is especially typical in non-rhotic varieties of English, such as British received pronunciation, where the "r" is not pronounced unless followed by a vowel. Though the speaker may not be using strict received pronunciation, the drop "r" reflects a tendency toward economy in articulation at the end of a word.
Now, let's take a look at the results of participant 3. So, for the first task is word reading. So again, there are 5 words given to the participant and they are required to speak it out loud. So the first word is comfortable. Comfortable. So let's hear how the participant pronounce the word.
Comfortable.
So over here, there is no elision observed, but instead there is an extra vowel added. The participant inserted a schwa between "t" and "b" sound, so it becomes comfortable. Comfortable. This creates a more careful and articulated version. This is common among ESL learners aiming for clarity or accuracy. Now, moving on to the second word, family. Family. Let's hear the participants' pronunciation.
Family.
So over here, there is an elision observed. The schwa is omitted. The participant used the compressed native-like form. This indicates exposure to fluent or fast speech patterns where weak vowels are dropped. So it becomes family, family, instead of family, family. Now, for the third word, sandwich. Sandwich.
Sandwich.
So here, there is an elision observed. The D sound is omitted in between the N and W sound. The cluster is simplified, which often happens in casual or rapid speech. It may also reflect mimicry of native pronunciation habits. So hence, that is why it becomes sandwich instead of pronouncing the D sound. Sandwich. Sandwich. The fourth word is Christmas. Christmas.
Christmas.
And yes, there is also an elision observed in the word. The sound T is omitted from cluster. So it becomes Christmas instead of Christmas. Christmas. This is a textbook example of consonant cluster reduction, especially in festive or familiar words where native speakers also compress syllables. Hence, that is why it is pronounced commonly as Christmas. Christmas. And the last word for task 1 is chocolate. Chocolate. Let's hear the participants' pronunciation.
Chocolate.
There is an elision observed in the word. So there's a vowel reduced there. Instead of saying chocolate, chocolate, it became chocolate, chocolate. The middle vowel is compressed or dropped for fluency, a common native speaker trait that is often picked up by ESL learners in informal environments. Hence, that is why it becomes chocolate. So now, let's move on to the second task, which is sentence reading. The first sentence is, I asked her to help me with my homework. Let's hear how the participant pronounced the sentence.
I asked her to help me with my homework.
So, the word ask here is an elision because the sound k in ask is elided. Consonant clusters like sk are often simplified, especially before another consonant. The participant likely prioritized fluency over full articulations. Hence, that is why she pronounced it as ask her instead of ask her. For the second sentence, he acts in a lot of dramas. He acts in a lot of dramas.
He acts in a lot of dramas.
And yes, there is an elision observed in the sentence. The t sound is dropped from the word acts. So the speaker pronounced it as he acts in a lot of dramas instead of he acts in a lot of dramas. So omitting the t in consonant clusters is typical in connected speech. The speaker possibly aimed for a smooth delivery. Now, let's hear the third sentence. He must be really tired today.
He must be really tired today.
Again, the sound t in must is dropped. So instead of pronouncing it as he must be really tired today, the speaker pronounces it as he must be really tired today. Dropping the t in must help with pacing and rhythm, a common feature in rapid natural conversation. So it becomes must instead of must. Now, let's look at the fourth sentence. I've already told him everything. Let's hear how the participant pronounced the sentence.
I've already told him everything.
And yes, there is an elision occurred in the sentence. The d in told is elided. In this case, the final d sound in told was dropped before the following consonant h in him. This is a typical elision pattern in connected speech, especially in rapid delivery or when maintaining rhythm. Dropping a voice consonant like the at the end of a word is common when the next word begins with a consonant, making the transition easier and faster. That is why it becomes told him instead of told him. And for the fifth sentence, he is a fast talker when he's nervous.
He is a fast talker when he's nervous.
Again, there is an elision occurred in the sentence. The sound th is dropped from fast. Instead of he is a fast talker when he is nervous, it becomes he is a fast talker when he is nervous. So it becomes fast talker, fast talker. The th is often elided in casual context, especially before another voiceless sounds like t in talker. So it becomes fast talker, fast talker. Now, for the last task is spontaneous speech. The first question is describe your daily routine. Now let's hear the participants' answer on the question.
Usually on a weekday, I will list on my task to-do list of a day so that I will accomplish it.
There is an elision occurred in the phrase on a weekday. So instead of pronouncing it as on a weekday, the participant pronounce it as on a weekday, on weekday, on a weekday. The schwa sound is dropped in on a weekday. This weak form is often reduced in natural speech. The participant follows this pattern to maintain fluency. On a weekday. For the second question, we asked the participant to talk about a memorable weekend you had. And here is her response.
I think when I was in diploma, me and my friends planned to go out. We spent time together at the mall and also joining an event at a certain program.
So over here, there is a few elision that occurred. For the first one is me and my friends. Me and my friends. So the d sound in n is dropped. So instead of pronouncing it as me and my friends, the speaker or the participant pronounce it as me and my friends. So the d sound is omitted. Similar with the word spend. We spend time together. We spend time together. So the d sound is omitted in the word spend. So instead of we spent time together, it becomes we spend time together. And the last one is the phrase and also. And also. So usually function words and past tense markers are often reduced or dropped in fluent speech to maintain pace and clarity. For the third question, we asked, tell me how you usually prepare for exams. And here is the participants' answer.
I prefer study in a group because I am not good in study alone. Because usually it is not efficient for me. So I will prepare it at least 3 days before the exams.
So over here, there is one elision occurred in the phrase study in a group. Study in a group. So instead of pronouncing the word in, the participant dropped the vowel E. So it becomes n group. N group. The omission of articles and prepositions reflect casual spoken English, where rhythm takes priority over clarity of each word. Hence, that is why the vowel E is dropped. Instead of study in a group, it becomes study in a group. Study in a group. Next, we asked them to describe their favorite food and how it is prepared. Is it complicated or easy to make?
I like spaghetti, which is carbonara. It is, according to my recipe, it is simple. Just a simple thing. Just add chicken and spaghetti and mushroom, and it's all done.
So over here, there are few elisions that occurred. The first one is in the phrase just a simple thing. So instead of pronouncing just a, the speaker pronounced it as just a. Just a. The th sound is dropped and omitted, so it becomes just a. The second one, like before, is in the word and. So instead of and mushroom, the speaker pronounced it as and mushroom. And mushroom. And lastly, in the word it's all done. It's all done. Instead of pronouncing it clearly, it's all done, the participant pronounced it as it's all done. It's all done. This reflects how functional words are de-emphasized when a speaker is more focused on conveying the main content words. And for the last questions, we asked the participants to tell us about their favorite animals and do they have a pet? And here is the answer.
I don't have any pets, but I like cats.
You like cats?
Most of my aunties and uncles have it, and I like to cuddle them.
Again, there are few elisions that occurred in the sentence. The first one is don't have. Instead of pronouncing the th sound, it is omitted. So instead of don't have, it becomes don't have. Don't have. The next one is most of. Most of my aunties. Instead of most of, the speaker make it sound more natural, so it became most of. Most of. And lastly, again with the word and, the th sound is omitted. So instead of and uncles, it becomes and uncles. And uncles. This mirror native-like fluency, where common auxiliaries and connectives are phonetically reduced for ease and rhythm. Now, it's time for the discussion and conclusion of what have we gained throughout the experiment. From the analysis across all three tasks, it was evident that elision occurred frequently, particularly in casual and spontaneous speech settings. The most common phonological process observed was the omission of th d, and schwa, sounds, especially in consonant clusters and weak function words. Now, let's look at the frequency by task types. For the first task, word reading, elision was minimal. Only a few words like sandwich, Christmas, and chocolate showed elision, mainly involving cluster simplification, such as the loss of d or schwa, sounds. For example, sandwich. So instead of sandwich, it becomes sandwich, with the d sound omitted. For the second task, which is sentence reading, elision becomes slightly more common. Words such as us, X, must, and fast showed omission of the final t or k in consonant clusters. For example, ask her, omitting the k sound. And for the last task, task 3, which is spontaneous speech, showed the highest frequency of elision. Multiple function words like and, of, and contractions like don't showed reduced or omitted sounds. For example, on weekday, there is an elision of the schwa, sound. Next, we'll look at the justification. The elision patterns found in participant speech align with what is typically observed among Malaysian ESL speakers with intermediate to high oral proficiency. Several factors explain this. Language proficiency. The participant demonstrates awareness of English rhythm and connected speech, suggesting a moderate to advanced level of fluency. Elision, especially in spontaneous speech, signals an attempt to sound more natural and native-like. The second factor is learning environment. As IIUM students enroll in tertiary institution, the participants are likely exposed to both and informal English input, which explains the varied use of elision across different speech tasks. The next factor is the L1 influence. In Malay, final consonants like t and k are less prominent or are glottalized, which may influence the tendency to drop similar sounds in English. For example, us, must. However, the participant retained some sounds when clarity was important, indicating selective application of elision based on the context. Last but not least, speech context. Elision was lowest during word reading, which was formal and isolated. However, it increased in sentence reading and peaked in spontaneous speech, where natural pacing and reduced forms are more common. The elision process observed is not due to carelessness or poor pronunciations, but rather a sign of developing fluency. The participants are learning to balance clarity and natural rhythm, and the phonological patterns align well with what is expected from competent second language users adapting to real-world English usage. And that marks the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for listening.